better and more beautiful life. Carry all your expectations to the man above and him alone. Yes, the man above.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
It is here, the Wake Up Guyana program with your host, Tony from Myconi. Monday through Friday from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Kaieteur Radio, FM 99.1 in Demerara and Essequibo and 99.5 in Berbice. The radio with a difference.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Hello, thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith.
And I am Kayla King.
And welcome to your news at noon. These are the top stories we're tracking. Natural gas electricity plants now less competitive than renewables. And power companies saddled with billions in assets they cannot sell, says a Bloomberg report. And fixing Liza Destiny's gas compressor woes could last 3 months. In the meantime, daily production ramped up by 80,000 barrels. Charlestown man executed on a Drysdale street reportedly begged for life before being riddled with bullets. And AG Nandlal says government is unable to pronounce on end to blackouts. Stay tuned to stay informed.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Welcome back. Guyana is actively pursuing a gas-to-shore project to set up a gas-fired power plant, but the initiative is being pushed at a time when the cost of renewables has dropped dramatically during the past decade. This makes gas-fired stations less competitive. A recent Bloomberg report documents that natural gas is quickly falling out of favor with emissions vary investors and utilities at a quicker pace than coal did, catching some power generators unaware and potentially leaving them stuck with billions of dollars of assets they cannot sell.
Meanwhile, ExxonMobil Guyana disclosed yesterday that it has finally removed the discharge silencer, a component of the gas compressor system for the Liza Destiny vessel that malfunctioned on April 30th last. That aspect of the equipment will undergo further assessment for damage, following which a determination will be made regarding the necessary scope of repairs and or modifications. ExxonMobil said it estimates that repairs or replacement will take approximately 3 months, and in the meantime, the American oil explorer and operator of the Stabroek Block said that production will be slowly ramped up to 100,000 barrels of oil per day. Further to this, we were told that flaring levels have increased from 3 to 4 million cubic feet of gas to 15 million cubic feet.
Meanwhile, an elderly woman was last night disturbed from her rest by the sound of gunshots. A short while later, she found out that it was her grandson who was executed by gunmen on Drysdale Street, Charlestown, Georgetown. The slain man has been identified as Odengo Anthony Yearwood, 25, of Charlestown. Yearwood was gunned down sometime after 20 hours. When Kaieteur arrived at the scene, the body, covered with a brown cloth, was still lying on the street in a pool of blood, a short distance from his home. Three spent shells were seen near the body, and a trail of even more spent shells could be seen leading to the victim's bicycle, which was found in an alleyway close to his home. Police are investigating the matter.
In other news, government is at present unable to pronounce on when the recent spate of blackouts plaguing the country would end, but the phenomenon is in part behind the push for a diversified power generation base using the much vaunted gas-to-shore project. So said Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Anil Nandlal, who this past week sought to lament the state of affairs of GPL's generation and distribution capacity. According to Nandlal, despite the upgrades currently being undertaken by Trinidadian and other contractors, he does not know when the blackouts will stop, but the government is working towards it. It is now 12 hours 12 in Guyana, and you are listening to Kaieteur Radio. This is your news at noon. Coming up after the break, boat operator gets 7 to 5 years for murder of Brazilian minor. Health Minister advises against use of alcohol 24 hours before and after COVID-19 jab. Trevor Ben charged for selling state land for 4 times less than initial value. Bandits use glass cutter to steal cash and laptop from car. Meanwhile, Guyana significantly overwhelmed by a challenge of illegal and unreported and unregulated fishing. Do stay tuned.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Guyana, please join me on the Glenn Lal Show, 99.1, 99.5, Kaieteur Radio, every Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 7:20 p.m. and a rebroadcast of the next day at 11 a.m. just in case you missed that program.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. O'Neill Griffith, a boat operator from Linden, was yesterday sentenced to 7 to 5 years in prison for the murder of Brazilian minor Braz Alves dos Santos. The sentence was handed down by Justice Navindra Singh at the High Court in Essequibo after Griffith was found unanimously guilty of the offence by a mixed 12-member jury. According to the charge, Griffith murdered dos Santos during a robbery which took place on October 30th, 2015 at his Mazaruni mining camp. Following the verdict, Griffith told the court that he is innocent of the crime. The judge noted that Griffith will only have the possibility of parole after serving 50 years. It was also ordered that prison authorities deduct the time Griffith spent in pre-trial custody from the sentence.
Now let's tell you, out of an abundance of caution, the Health Minister, Dr. Frank Anthony, is advising against the use of alcohol 24 hours before one is to take a COVID-19 vaccine and 24 hours after. As it relates to the Russian Sputnik V vaccine, there are reports that health officials have been urging persons to refrain from the use of alcohol at least 2 weeks before being administered their first shot and then for another 42 days. He pointed out that if health officials are going to observe persons for side effects from the vaccine, then they would need those persons to be sober. He would have also cautioned against the use of medication before receiving a COVID-19 vaccine.
And now let's tell you, former head of the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission, or GLNSC, Trevor Ben, yesterday made another court appearance after he was charged for misconducting himself in public office by selling a portion of state land for 4 times less than its initial value. 53-year-old Ben of Century Palm Gardens in Georgetown appeared at the Georgetown Magistrates Courts before Principal Magistrate Shuttle Isaacs Marcus with his lawyer Mark Waldron. He was not required to plead to the charge, which alleges that between December 1st, 2018 and August 31st, 2019 at GLNSC, while being a public officer, he willfully misconducted himself by executing the sale of 2 parcels of land, all being a portion of Middle Walk, Plantation, Ramveld, Georgetown. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News.
Meanwhile, bandits reportedly used a glass cutter to gain access to a teacher's car from which they stole over $200,000 in cash, a laptop, and documents. The incident reportedly occurred last week Thursday sometime around 18 hours. The teacher, Marilyn Gibson, said that her car was at the time parked at the Waterloo and Church Streets, Georgetown Junction. Gibson is worried that it will be difficult for police to find the perpetrators. She said that it has been brought to her attention that businesses have a tendency of reviewing footage and then deleting same to create space for new ones. It is understood that investigators have not yet gone to the location to access footage from nearby cameras. Meanwhile, another teacher has since come forward relating that her car too was vandalized while it was parked in the same area.
And moving on, the absence of key resources to do proper monitoring of the nation's sea space, as well as to collect data from fishermen, has left Guyana unable to tackle the growth challenge of illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. This troubling reality came to the fore yesterday on the eve of Earth Day during a virtual discussion that was led by the U.S. Embassy in Guyana. To open the discussion, the embassy's public affairs official, Violeta Talandes, invited Arjun Martins to share her thoughts on the extent of illegal fishing in Guyana and what attempts have been made from the world of non-governmental organizations to help create a space from which information about this problem can be accessed. Ms. Arjun Martins was keen to know that while the government is the ultimate steward of the fishing resources, from her position as a leader of an NGO, assistance can be provided in several ways. With the time now moving on to 12 hours 17, coming up after the break will be your COVID-19 update.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
And now for your COVID-19 update. According to Worldometer, the number of worldwide coronavirus cases has reached 144.9 million, with deaths at 3 million and recovery cases at 123 million. Meanwhile, locally, the number of cases Guyana has so far reported has reached 12,132, with deaths at 274 and total recoveries at 10,442. Meanwhile, the country currently has 1,416 active cases with 12 critical. And on that note, we now head over to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News for the page that is dedicated to being blunt. The opposition is questioning the appointment of a communications arm of the police force headed by civilians. While not condemning once the appointment was done lawfully, we have questions as well. Today we ask only one. Is a dressed-up communications unit part of the force's plan to address our escalating crime situation? And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I am Kevin Smith.
And I am Kayla King.
Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Good morning and welcome to Thursday, the April 22nd edition of the National